Thank you for coming on straight on over, Indigo. See if some more people gonna come on in. If they don't, oh well. Um, I do my best to try to stay on point with my own lives. Give me a second. Well, I got one person in the bushes. I guess that's you, Indigo. Um, I was talking to Nap Child. All right. I don't plan on being on here that long, Indigo. I am a little tired. Thanking Miss Nicole F and Dion Court for coming over. Um, I'm gonna have a story time. I want to just give y'all a little part of me. When I was 35, I had a heart attack. I was smoking me some perp, and that's when Loud first came out. And I smoked the whole blunt by myself. I was married at the time. My husband wasn't home, wasn't nobody home but me and my children at the time. And I went to go take a shower. Hey, Miss Janice. I went to go take a shower. And as I was taking a shower, a sharp pain was in my chest. And it went to running down my arm. And I felt like I was going to pass out while I was in the shower. And I had my son, my oldest son, to call 911. They sent the ambulance and everything to my home. They rushed me to the emergency room. They did all they can do, did a catheter or whatever, and they informed me that I had a minor heart attack. So I was at a hospital that I wasn't familiar with. And we all know when it comes to surgeries and things to that nature, we want to go where we feel comfortable. So, hey, JLC, when they told me that I was having a minor heart attack, they also let me know that I was having congestive heart failure also. at the same time. And my blood pressure was always high. And they didn't know how to get it under control. So I went to the hospital that I was more familiar with, where I had my children, in one of the best hospitals in the state of Florida, and in Tampa, Florida. And I had to be rushed there because I continued to have congestive heart failure. That is the worst feeling in the world for someone to feel like they can't breathe when they're trying to sleep. And what had happened was they gave me an echocardiogram where they put the microscope down your throat and look at your heart. And they was telling me after they did the echo that one of my valves in my heart wasn't pumping the blood the way it should have. Okay. We scheduled for my first surgery. I was scheduled with one of the best heart surgeons in the state of Florida, and he was a black male. He had all these awards and things in his office when I first went to see him. We talked about what we were going to do in terms of the heart surgery. That happened to me January 7th, no, January 6th, 2014. What we discussed, he didn't do in the operating room. He felt that I was too young to get a valve replacement. So what he did was, do a valve replacement. And what he did was he did a valve repair. Fast forward to 2 years later, I started to have the same symptoms all over again. By this time, he was no longer a surgeon at Tampa General Hospital, where I had my surgery. He was a surgeon in another part of Central Florida. Mind you, before I thought about having a second surgery, I reached out to this doctor because he was one of the best in the state of Florida. I spoke with his secretary. I let his secretary know the date that he did the surgery, his name, and everything like that. So the lady told me, oh, he'll give you a call back within 24 hours. Mind you, guys, I never received that call. And then when I called him back 48 hours later, they were giving me the runaround. So at this point, I had to make a decision. And my decision was to go ahead and have the second surgery so I can continue to live and be a mother and a grandmother to my kids and my grandkids. So I met another doctor. He had great credentials as well. But the difference between the two doctors, the second doctor that I had, He did do the valve replacements, but what I didn't like about his tactics after he did my surgery, and the second time, my surgery didn't go as well as my first surgery. It took me a couple days to come through. My I was gone, y'all. That's how long it took me to come through. The first surgery, I was woke that same day. The second surgery, it took almost a week for me to wake up. And when I did wake, I didn't see the doctor. When they moved me from ICU, he didn't come up on the floor where I was located. I never seen that doctor again. He didn't schedule me any follow-up surgeries any follow-up appointments or anything like that. All while I was out for them, I was getting dialysis treatments. Didn't know that my kidneys had failed until I came to, and my nephrologist was there, and a lady was sitting there with a machine. At this time, I still had tubes and all this in my lungs and my mouth and all that. I couldn't speak. So when they finally took out the tubes and everything and broke it down and explained to me that my kidneys felt while I was in surgery, because if you're a surgeon and you just did this type of surgery on your patient, why didn't you come back and check on your patient? Why didn't you make sure that I was still alive? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was kind of pissed because I felt thrown away at that point. I wasn't his child, but I was somebody else's child. You just did a surgery on me. You left me here to die. Because if I would have been in that surgeon's shoes, I would have been at that person's bedside every day until they came through. Not just did a surgery on someone and walked away. Now, mind you, I had a lot of complications after I came out of this surgery. And it wasn't the dialysis that was the complication. I was new to dialysis. I didn't know what cramps were. I didn't know none of that because it wasn't explained in. But as I was coming from dialysis one day, I had got a real bad pain in my leg, in my right leg. And At first, when I first came out of the surgery and doing the dialysis, I was able to walk because they make you walk so that gas won't get caught up in you. And as I was walking, my leg gave out because I was in so much pain. So I fell. And I fell more than once. And then they gave me a leg brace. But no one can tell me where this pain was coming from. So they called the hospitalist. They called everyone that they thought could help me. But no one could tell me where the pain came from. About time I got discharged from the hospital, the pain had went away. They were trying to tell me it was a pinched nerve. Then they was trying to say that it could have happened, something could have happened when they were doing the surgery. They didn't know. And of course, I tried to reach out to some lawyers because I felt it was like some medical malpractice going on. But no one wanted to take the case due to the reputable accolades that this hospital had gotten. And when I left the hospital with a brace on my leg. And I went from wearing a brace to pushing a walker. But thank God I don't need a walker anymore. But my leg has no feeling from my thigh to my bottom of my leg, right above my ankle. So when I was going to the doctor for all of that, they wanted to stick me with needles. It wasn't like acupuncture. They wanted to take real needles and stick them in my leg to see why there was no feeling there. But y'all remember, there is a God, because that feeling has came back to my leg. But in the midst of all that, I broke my knee. All those falls I had, I broke my knee. And about time I got to the orthopedic knee doctor, it had healed itself. So when I tell y'all that I'm going through a lot, don't take it for granted. I felt like coming on here tonight, giving you a story about my health. And lately I've been thinking about just giving up because I'm only 45 years old. I'll be 46 soon. And I feel like, why a young lady like me have all this illness in her body? Yes, I'm obese, but I don't weigh 300 pounds. And I couldn't understand why I had high blood pressure. It never got controlled. So that led up to my kidneys failing. I'm going to dialysis 3 days a week for 4 hours a day. I really can't, have a job because who's going to work with my schedule? I've tried it. And every job that I worked on, except for Kmart, was able to compensate me and give me the hours that I could work. So at this point, I'm tired of dialysis. They got all these cures for everything else. They got all these foundations for everything else. They have no money for the kidney foundation. They're not trying to find a cure for kidney disease. I had a company call me in 2019, told me they had some new medication to help reverse your creatinine in your kidneys to get your function back. I received a call from that company today. They have all my information and they're calling me over and over again for the same information that they have. Give me a reason not to trust you. And these doctors, they're not going to let you know that there's new medication out here. If you don't let them know that you already know that there's medication out here, they're not going to talk to you about it. Because guess how much I pay every time I go sit down in a dialysis chair? I pay $8,000 every time I sit down in that chair. And then the doctor's not even getting paid out of that amount. They have their own amount that separately from the dialysis chair. Now I have prompt to go home and do my own dialysis from myself, to stick myself with needles. But at one point I was ready to give up, y'all. But I had to think about my 15-year-old and my grandchildren, because my oldest son can take care of himself. It would have been selfish of me to end my own life knowing I had a 15-year-old that looks up to me, that enjoy being with me, and to leave him in the arms of a man that he don't trust, don't care about like that, would have been selfish. Especially leaving him on my mother would have been extremely selfish. So when I tell y'all I'm going through some things and I don't come on here for a while, pray with me and pray for me. Just know Lady P going through something. We ain't seen her on here in a while. Because it's hard, y'all. If you're not sick and you used to doing different things, because before I got sick, I was able to go wherever I wanted to go, do whatever I wanted to do, have me a drink if I wanted to. Now I'm limited on how much fluid I put in my body. I'm limited on the type of foods I can eat. It is hard. Some of y'all might take my story time video and use it against me later. I don't give a damn. I'm already dealing with enough. That's why I try to not insert myself in certain situations. But what I did tonight, I needed to do. Because I was baffled when I heard that recording. I understand that, JLC. But when you think you out of that deep water and you turn back around and feel like you're drowning again, I had don't got all these bills paid down before 2020. It seemed like when 2020 came in, I was getting bills out of the ass. And I'm like, where did this come from? Where did this come from? Where did this come from? And my little piece of income tax that I may get or may not receive, it still ain't gonna help me pay down some of these bills. And it's hard, y'all. I really don't ask for much. I come on here and give you my commentary. I try to do the best I can. I'm sharing a piece of me with y'all right now. I'm not monetized yet, but I am accepting cash apps. And that's if you want to give. I'm not making you give, but I'm letting y'all know I am accepting cash apps. Y'all think I don't hear what half of these people on YouTube say? I hear it all. It's just some things that I ignore. Because if you ignore it, you won't let it bother you. Period. I had people clowning me about how many people be in my chat, which it doesn't matter to me because the smaller the better. I can greet and speak to everyone in my chat. I can read my chat without having to scroll back down, scroll back up, see who I missed. But y'all, dialysis it's not easy. Half of the time, I am exhausted. But when I start doing it from home, I can do it for 5 days straight, 2 hours a day, so I can have my energy. And I just wanted y'all to know that part about me. I'm a sweetheart until you cross me. And if you come for me and I ain't sent for you, you will feel the wrath of Lady P. And sometimes you come for me and I ain't sent for you, and I feel like you ain't worth me coming back for, I pay you dust. Because I see how these YouTube streets operate. I don't need an alliance. I just need to be free, give my opinion, and watch who I like. And communicate in their chats. And if they're in their chats talking about people, if I don't comment, that means I don't agree. And you will see a lot of that. because I drop down when I speak. Sometimes I communicate with the chat, and sometimes I sit and listen. And I appreciate the ones that came over here to hear my story time today. I just felt like I needed to let you guys know about my illness and how I got to this point. I would like to thank all of you guys for coming over. Indigo, thank you for modding, hon. Nicole F., Miss Dion Court, Miss Janice, JLC, thank you for modding, baby. Love conquers all. Thank you for coming over. Let Miss Linda G. I appreciate you for coming over. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, like, and share this video. Harmony Hall, thank you, baby, for coming over. J Dunn, thank you for being in the building. Miss Cynthia, thank you for coming over. And if y'all haven't subscribed to J Dunn, please check her out. She have an early morning live every morning. She brings substance like I try to bring substance. And we gonna get together as women in this sector and start supporting each other, I hope. I've already rock hard with Miss JLC 87. We are part of the Misfits panel together. Indigo is a sweetheart. She's one of my moderators, and so is JLC, Tanari K, and Nepturian looking from afar. Those are my moderators. Right now, Nepturian is not in the building. He's getting ready to make a ride to the A where I'm located. Hey, Percat baby, thank you for coming over. And 777777777. Thank you, baby, for coming too. Now, Percat, you may have to catch the replay because my live is over at this moment. And I really appreciate y'all for coming over. Make sure you thumbs up the video. If you didn't thumbs up on your way in, make sure you thumbs up on your way out. Have a blessed and wonderful day. And let's all go over there and invade the cash party that Brother Jay is having. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful evening.